Welcome back to 1813 Fair Warning. I'm Kevin Steele, and today we're talking with Shelley Luther. Luther, the woman who was jailed in the Dallas area. Shelley, thanks for joining us. Now you'll say, I know that name from somewhere. I know that name. The way you know that name is from an incident in the Dallas area, about 6 months ago, Shelley?
May, whatever that is. It seems like a year, though.
Yeah, it has to. The owner of a salon in the area who said, you know what, I just can't keep my business open with these COVID restrictions and the business lockdowns. And you describe the extraordinary thing that happened next, Shelley.
Well, I mean, we did open and we were following all the guidelines that we possibly could, and then they still wanted to shut us down. And I mean, long story short, I ended up getting arrested and put in jail for 2 days.
That sounded like it must have been thrilling for you.
Highlight of my life.
Yeah. Literally, what was the experience for you there? You were booked in. How long were you inside?
48 hours.
48 hours. And you won't recall this, we interviewed your boyfriend at the time who told us all about the situation, and he was monitoring with you on the regular every few hours or so to just see how everything was going. At that time, the state was very involved. Detail for us what then happened as far as that back and forth exchange with the state and what then happened. You were eventually released.
I was released. It had nothing to do with Governor Abbott. My attorney filed a writ of habeas corpus, it's called, and at the Texas Supreme Court, and they temporarily released me. So I actually could serve the remaining 5 days. It's still in their hands.
Still in their hands. We find ourselves back in much the same situation. That was sort of at the beginning of the ascent of the lockdowns in the state of Texas related to these COVID restrictions. And we now see, because of this new surge, we see the state apparently ramping up efforts once again. And a lot of businesses are saying, I will have to close my doors forever if we return to that. What's your position on how the state is to stay safe, but at the same time, keep business going?
You know, my position is it's personal responsibility for everybody. The government's not there to protect us. They're there to protect our rights. And right now they kind of have it backwards. And I feel like adults know what is safe for them and their family. Or if they don't, they have the decision to stay home if they want to. But for those of us that need our business in order to feed our children, we have that ability and right to open up our business. And the patrons that want to come in are welcome, with a mask, without, we don't care. We just need to be able to stay open and try to survive through this.
Were you able to keep your salon open?
Oh, of course. It was open when I was in jail.
Yeah, and so far you've survived this morass that we've been in.
I have, with a lot of support and help from a lot of people. There's a lot of others that are not so fortunate, and it's really sad.
Since that time, I would assume you've become more of an activist than you ever have before. You've decided to get into the political world. Tell us where you're at right now.
Well, I'm running for Senate District 30. It's a special election, open seat. And so the first election was September 29th, and I actually won that out of 6 people. But because it's a special election, the winner has to win by 50 plus 1 vote, 50% plus 1 vote. No one got that, so I'm in a runoff with another candidate.
Wow, that's extraordinary. Had you ever thought about political life prior?
Never. I'm actually kind of an introvert, so it's actually pretty funny.
The courageous fight that you went on is something that is shared by a lot of people all around, really, the country, certainly in Texas. 1813 talked with a gentleman in Durango, Colorado. We did one of these interviews just like this. He gave a 10% discount if people would come into his yogurt shop without a mask because he was so angry at the restrictions. I knew you would find that hilarious.
That's amazing.
And you know what happened is a number of people threatened him and his business, threw a brick through his window. What is it that makes this particular issue so divisive for so many people? Why is this such a tense fight?
Well, I think that people think this fight is about, like in my case, a haircut. And it has nothing to do with the haircut. We're not saying that cutting people's hair is more important than people's health. What we're saying is, number one, we have a U.S. Constitution, a Texas Constitution. We have laws that our founding fathers created for us, and they're getting trampled on all over the place, number one. And number two, it's not about a haircut. It's about supporting your family and your means to doing that. And when the government's not helping and the system is broken, then you have to stand up and fight. And there's been many instances in our history that people have stood up. And this just happens to be one of those times.
Some people use the terms the cure is worse than the curse, if you will.
That's worse than the virus, absolutely.
And is that what is happening to Texas business? Will we see businesses by the score go out of business as a result, go bankrupt as a result of a second sharp downturn or lockdown, if you will?
Well, there's already been thousands and thousands of them already shut down. So if there's a second lockdown, I know several businesses will not make it. But that's not even the only thing to worry about. Our kids are not learning in school. Mm-hmm. The teenage suicide rate is up 600% from this time last year. Mm-hmm. It's just not worth it to shut down. It's not worth it. And it's amazing that the flu numbers aren't high. And all of a sudden it's just COVID numbers. It's just, I wish our government would just be honest with us so people wouldn't be so scared and they could make decisions with factual information instead of all of the media hype. I think it's been mostly positive. I think when people find out who I am, 90% of the time, if they're Republican, they were proud of what I did and feel that I would be a good addition to government because I won't just be a yes person.
Right. Shelley Luther, please stay out of jail going forward, will you? We worry.
No promises.
We worry over here. Shelley Luther running in that state Senate district in the runoff now. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much.